Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show. It is the SoCal Regional Bowl edition. I'm Dan Albano, joined here once again by the Hall of Famer Steve Fryer. And Steve, as we know, this is can be a traditional tricky week for Orange County, and I'd say Southern Section teams. You come out of these intense playoffs, you celebrate. In the case of Yorba Linda, you're 14-0, historic type seasons. But then you got to turn around next week and go again in the bowl games. I think this is a tricky spot. I think it favors the non-Orange County, non-Southern Section teams. I think they get more fired up than traditionally the Southern Section do, especially a Southern Section champion. And maybe that's some Southern Section bias, but I know how hotly contested our championships are. But what do you think about this in general? You think some of these Orange County teams, we have 5 teams in the bowl game. I don't know how many of them are going to get through. This is going to be a tough week in this regional round.
14 games or 13 games, however many you play, that's a bit of a marathon, right, Dan?
Sure.
Now, if you run a marathon, and you get to the finish line in Boston or LA or New York or whatever, and then somebody says, hey, you want to do it again? Want to run another lap? I think you're going to go, no. Or if you had so much fun running the 27 and 26 miles, you go, yeah, sure, I'll run on the block a couple more times. Why not? But so that's the challenge for these coaches, is to get that key back in the ignition and turn that engine over again, and see if you can get these kids ready to play another week. Are they emotionally depleted? Is their physical and emotional capital spent?
Yeah.
Or are they loving each other so much and loving the competition so much? One more week of practice with my guys, with my family, my football family. One more week out there. I'm digging it. I never want this to end. I'm looking forward to it. More glories out there. Let's go get it. Or, maybe kids are going, man, I'm done. We got what we wanted. We won league. We got a CF championship. We got a ring. We got cool T-shirts. We got a plaque. We're going to have one heck of a great banquet coming up in a few weeks. Or are they going to, and they're done, or they go, hey, we got it. I'm digging it. Let's keep going. It's interesting to see. Great challenge for coaches to do that. And the coaches themselves, are they had it? Are the coaches and players all sick of each other? It could be. And you see, I've been around these football teams a lot, and the love that they have for the coaches and the players and the staff and things like that. You can smell it, you can taste it, but eventually, maybe you're done. You had enough. Maybe it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for these kids this week.
Yeah, and we've had some Orange County teams that have won state titles, and this has been a part of their journey. Toward state titles. We've had Mater Dei, had to win another game to win a national title. That will be the case for St. John Bosco. They're going to have to finish up against Sarah of San Mateo in 2 weeks in the open division down at Saddleback College. So, and one interesting story I heard from Laguna Hills, who we'll talk about here in just a moment. They've been doing, I think 16 push-ups or something like that because of the 16 game season that they hope to play this year. This has been a big thing for them all year. But they got, these are some tough games too against some motivated teams. So let's get into it, Mr. Fryer. So Friday
I'm doing 1.6 push-ups.
And what is the significance of that?
Well, 16 push-ups, 1.6.
Oh, okay. I see. I got it.
I can get to 1.6, and I'm feeling good about myself.
We are not both up to the Hawk standards.
No,
Troy
Lieber's a little faster than me.
Yes, and he is quite powerful and got a little shake to him as well, more than we have, for sure.
Yes, sir.
So Friday night we have one game, Mr. Fryer. So Northwood, your Pacific Coast League champion, also won Division 8, and they hit the road. They go to Central California to take on Kennedy. So road trip time for the Timberwolves and Adam Harper. They're taking on Kennedy, 11-2 team. Some fans might remember it was 2015. Kennedy came down to Orange County and played Saddleback Valley Christian, who doesn't have a team anymore. in a regional game and lost in a SoCal regional final at Laguna Hills. I think I covered that game for the Register. Saddleback Valley Christian won. They didn't win the state title, but they did win the SoCal title. That was a 59-45 game. But I think this is the game I feel the most confident about, that I think Northwood can go up there. I think this is the best team that Kennedy has played. If you look at the Cal Preps rankings, this is by far the best team that Kennedy has played. Of course, they are at home, and Northwood's looking at about a 4-hour drive up there. So no small feat, a little bit north of the Bakersfield area. So what do you think? What do you think gets the win in this one, Mr. Fryer?
When we were just talking a minute ago about the teams that kind of like want more and are hungry and they're loving each other and stuff. Northwood, I think, is that team. I think they're a team that wants to keep going, wants more glory. They've won 2 in a row. Last year they were Division 11, moved up to Division 8. They found the teams to be bigger, a little bit faster, but they were up for it. They loved the challenge. They took it on. I think they like this challenge and all that. And we talk about Adam Harper, the running back, who's listed at 5'11" or 6 foot. I think he's a little shorter than that,
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that guy is fast, and he gets to the corner and he turns the corner, and he's got this really strange thing going on where it's like if somebody tries to ankle tackle him, he knows how to move his feet just at the right time. He does these little skips, but he doesn't slow down when he's doing these skips. It's just really bizarre. And then he just gets going. And once he's down, running the sideline, he's goners. And he's powerful, lowers his shoulder good. Nobody ever hits him good. He can move the hips at the right time. And the quarterback, Eugene Miata, underrated. He throws a nice looking football. Last year, I thought, he's okay. But this year, I saw him make a couple really nice throws in the win at Lakewood. And Lakewood was big and fast on defense. And those linemen at Northwood, man, I was totally impressed. I thought Lakewood was going to be too fast and too big for him. Northwood knocked them around. I was impressed. Northwood's going to win this game, guys.
Okay, I think as well. I think we were both in agreement there. Northwood can get the road trip. So the 4 other games are on Saturday, and I think these are all very close and tough games to call. So I don't know how well. We'll see how Orange County. They might be hard pressed to win any of these games, but we'll see how it goes. But you have to start with 1A with Yorba Linda. They're 14-0. They have the best record in the state of California this season so far. And it's going to be an emotional situation for the Mustangs and Coach Bailey, because they won on a last second field goal against Upland last week for the Division III title. But here comes Liberty of Bakersfield. They played a tough schedule. They're in a high division in their area. They have a USC committed defensive lineman, Grant Bucky, who's 6'5", 265, and Cal Preps has got the projection for Liberty of Bakersfield winning 24-12 over Yorba Linda. So looks like it's a tough one. Coach Bailey said it's going to be tough. But Yorba Linda's at home. They've played I think a better schedule than some people give them credit for. So and Division III was pretty tough. So what do you think about this one?
Ooh, tough one, man. You throw some good info out there at me, and they got a really good running back in Jalen Hankins who can run it pretty good. They ran the ball good. They ran for 227 yards in their win over San Joaquin Memorial in their Division I championship game in the Central section. Man, this is a coin flip game for me, Dan. I sure like those Yorba Linda guys. But I'm thinking that maybe this Liberty team is gonna end the season for Yorba Linda. I'm going to be at that game. If Yorba Linda's yelling at me about being wrong, sort of like the Northwood guys were last week, I'm fine with that, everybody. If I fired you up, let's go. But I think I like Liberty's chance this game for all those reasons that you talk about. But they got their really good lineman, the USC committed guy, but Yorba Linda's O-line is really good.
Yeah.
Hey, I've seen them play a couple times. Man, that's a stalwart group of dudes. But I think Liberty's got a really strong program. I remember they played Mission Viejo and gave them all they could handle some years ago. So when Coach Bob Johnson was running that program, he told me Liberty's got a good program. So, yeah, I guess I got to go with Liberty in a close one. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Yorba, but I think it's going to be a tough one. I think this is of course Coach Bailey's forte is the lineman coach. I think he'll be able to handle. They'll figure out a game plan for the USC commit, and I think they maybe they'll look at their 9 points that they scored last week and maybe make some adjustments. They didn't throw a passing touchdown, so we'll see what Ryan Beal and those guys can do, but. Yorba Linda is playing really well. I got to go with the 14 game winning streak, but I think that's going to be a tough game. So let's move on to 3A, Mr. Fryer, and that's Birmingham from the LA City section. We're going to be talking about 3 straight LA City section teams here. Birmingham taking on Laguna Hills on Saturday night, 3A. So Birmingham, they're the 3-time Open Division champions out of the LA City section. They're 9-4. They have a running back, Morgan, who's pretty good, who ran for over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. I think, and they also were in the state finals last year. They took a road trip up to Oakland, took on Clemdens and lost, but they're back again. They have been kind of our fine colleague Eric Sondheimer said that they've kind of turned into the LA City powerhouse. They've won,
yes,
like 34 LA City section games in a row. But hey, like I told you, Laguna Hills is fired up for this matchup. Troy Lieber is outstanding. And it's going to be a big challenge for that Laguna Hills defense because I don't think Birmingham throws the ball a ton. But Laguna Hills as at home as well. What do you think of this one, Mr. Fryer?
That young, the young person talking about Naeem Morgan ran for 292 yards and 4 touchdowns in that championship, that Open Division final. Yeah. 225 and 3 touchdowns in the first half, and then just coasted after that. You mentioned McClymonds High School of Oakland. I think of Bill Russell, just passed away earlier this year. He played high school basketball at McClymonds. I know a lot about Oakland sports from family stuff. But, I think I like Laguna Hills in this game. Open Division championship, you think Open Division, gee, isn't that like Bosco stuff and modern day stuff? But it's different in the Southern section. But I think Troy Lieber is really, is a really good player, fantastic running back. We got to look at the coach as coach of the year guy. But I'm going to favor Laguna Hills in this game, even though they're hitting the road on this one. Going with the Hawks.
Well, the Hawks are at home.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me to call. Because Birmingham also plays a very tough schedule. So, and they were a very veteran team. But I do wonder how some of these LA City sections are going to do facing the pass attack. If they don't throw it much in games, then you figure they probably don't practice much against it either.
Yeah. Right.
How do they simulate it? So I'm going with Laguna Hills as well.
Okay.
They have that team feel of destiny type with Coach Lester, and I was very impressed with them last week.
All right, how'd you do last week in your picks, Dan? How'd you do in your picks last week?
Well, we didn't go 8 for 8, but I think I went 5 for 8. Almost came within inches of getting 6 with Mater Dei. The Monarchs narrowly losing, but Cypress and who else? And Orange had tough goes of it.
That was horrible.
I think San Jacinto was definitely a real good team, and so was Downey. I watched a lot of the second half of the San Jacinto Orange game, and San Jacinto really looked good. But hey, let's move on. So 4A, Granada Hills, they're also a LA City section champion, and they are 11-3, taking on Laguna Beach at Laguna Beach. So this team is interesting. Granada Hills Charter School, they have a Utah committed running back, Dijon Stanley, who is a track champion out of the LA City section. I guess he's pretty good in the 400. Granada Hills got its best team since 1987 when they last won CIF title. And so Dijon Stanley, 367 yards last week, 5 touchdowns. This is the alma mater of John Elway, They also, just like Birmingham, they don't throw it very much at all, or at nearly at all. And now they're going to face a balanced Laguna Beach team that played some pretty good defense last year, is coached up well with Coach Shanahan. But
Yes.
do they have anybody who can really deal with Dijon Stanley? I like Reiner Swanson, if around the edge, can make some plays, but Dijon looks like he's gonna be a real problem. What do you think of this game?
Well, how's Laguna Beach done against running teams so far this year? Have they seen many of them? But when you can throw the ball like they can with the sophomore Jackson Pollock back there, it's a 6'3" or 6'4" guy who I'm very excited to see how he develops. Man, I think I got to go with the Laguna Beach guys in this game. I think I like Jackson Pollock. Keeps getting better every week, and I think when you throw the football, you haven't seen a lot of throwing teams, and you got to practice against a team that throws the ball a lot. It's hard to prepare for them. So when all things being equal, go with the throwing team. So I'm going with the Breakers / former Artists.
Okay, yes, and they won their first CIF title. Congrats to Laguna Beach. First CIF title since 1946. Coach Red Geyer of the team was the coach. That's the namesake of the field there at Laguna Beach. I'm thinking Granada Hills and Dijon Stanley, Utah committed player. He's going to be by far the best athlete out there. I think he's going to be a little bit too much. I like Granada Hills in this one. Though Cal Prep's projection has this one pretty tight, I believe. All right, and our last game is Division 7A. This is the highest division there is. This is in the state playoffs. Whittier Christian also playing on Saturday, going up to take on Crenshaw out of the LA City section. So Crenshaw, the word is that they've been their school and their team has struggled with COVID. They don't have the most players on their team. They only have about 23 guys that suit up for the game. They have a good running back, Andrew Wynn, who had a good game last week. And then you got Whittier Christian, our Division 14 champion, first CIF title in a while, for the Heralds. On the road, what do you think about this one for Whittier Christian, Mr. Fryer?
Well, Jake Martinez, really good running back over there, Whittier Christian, really good group of football players. I'm going with the Heralds in this one. I think that having talked to those guys, looked a little video of them, they're a stout team, pretty good O-line and defensive line guys, and I think they'll pull it out.
Yeah, Cal Preps has got the projection here, Crenshaw 35-24, but I think Whittier Christian will probably have. They're not the biggest team either. They have a couple key two-way players, but I think sounds like they'll probably have a little bit more depth. We know Frank Marquez has brought a lot of structure and discipline to that program. Pretty good coaching. He's off the Jeff Bailey coaching tree. So I also like the Heralds to get the win and advance on to state. So it's going to be interesting. You can see some of these matchups. I especially think, will be interesting to see how Birmingham and Granada Hills do, because they don't throw the ball much and they have really good running backs. Yeah. We're going to see some Liberty Bakersfield. There's some interesting matchups here. I think pretty intriguing for football fans. You got to stay tuned for one more week and see who gets through on these regional bowl games.
Right. Should be interesting. It should be, we don't know about some of these teams, obviously, but we'll find out. We're going to learn a lot here. We know about our teams, but it's kind of hard to just look at scores and stats and, okay, what are they doing? What do they look like? How fast are they? How fast are they on defense, which to me is a big deal. How fast you are on defense is a big thing for me when I watch football. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. So, well, thanks again for joining us here on the Gridiron Show. For Steve Fryer, I'm Dan Albano, and we'll talk to you next week about maybe some state championship games. Thanks, everybody.